rocket nose cone, right? You know, I just talked about the fact that it's got a lip so that it sits over the edge of the cardboard tube and pushes in. So how would I make something like this? It's also hollow, which is neat. So having a look. So this is pretty straightforward, right? This is a paraboloid shape, and it is, you know, sort of pre-done as a good shape for a rocket nose cone. Now, we don't know exactly what size those are going to be until you get your tube. So let's just, for the time being, let's just make it 50 mil by 50 mil. We can always muck around with that later. And we're going to have to make it so that it looks like a rocket nose cone again. So that looks pretty good to me. All right, so if this is 50 by 50 mil, what we're going to want to do is grab a cylinder, and we're going to want a cylinder that is a little bit smaller than that 50 by 50 mil. So maybe let's go 48 by 48 mil, and that means it's going to be a little bit smaller. And now what we're going to do is combine this cylinder with this rocket. So I'm going to go up 10 millimeters, and I'm going to squeeze this thing down 10 millimeters. Now, there's a really, really, really handy tool for lining stuff up. Before I do that, though, see this circle? I'm going to up the number of sides, and that just makes my circle smoother, right? Because now it's made of 64 sides. Now, this tool, if I select the rocket, and then I hold down Shift, and I select my cylinder, I can select this little tool up in the top right-hand corner called the Align tool. And if I click on that, it gives me all of these little markers to help me line things up. And you can see when I hover over them, it shows me where different things are going to move. So if I click up here, or if I click on this middle one, it moves them both to the middle and even with one another. And if I click on this dot here, then it moves them so that they are exactly lined up. And that's pretty much given me like a perfect rocket. That's really, really convenient. Right. So now that I've got that, I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's make this 46 by 46 so that we've got at least 2 mils all the way around. And then I'm going to use my Align tool again. So select the first thing, select the second thing, and here's my Align tool. All right. Pretty happy with that. Let's just double check. Yep, making sure that's all good. Might change my view. Aha, I thought that looked off. So making them both the same. Clicking the Align thing. Bish. All right, so there's my rocket cone, sort of. And I'm going to select both of those and group them together. All right, now that I've done that, I would like to make that hollow. Because if I can make it hollow, right, then I can actually stuff a parachute inside there, which is going to be useful because you want your rocket to have a parachute so that it doesn't just crash into the ground at full speed. As cool as that would be, it tends to destroy the rocket. So to make it hollow, I'm going to get another parabola, and I'm going to make it roughly the same size as my rocket. Whoop. And looking at it from the side, that's not what I wanted to do. Stretch it up a bit. Okay, so it's roughly the same size as my rocket. I've made it a little bit shorter on purpose. Right. Now, what I want to do is I want to make it smaller because I have to make this rocket hollow. And if I have it the same size as the rocket, that ain't going to work. So what I can do is now I can grab this, make it a hole, click this, use the Align tool, bish, bish. And now that's inside. Now that the hole is inside the rocket, select them both, group them together. And there is my nose cone. And that is ready to go, right? I could 3D print that, and that would be a nose cone for my rocket. Now, the nice thing is if you design this and then we decide that it needs to be a different size in order to fit into your rocket, we can do that. We can just, you know, change the dimensions of it so that it becomes the size that we want. So that would be how to design the rocket's nose cone.